I recently did a video reacting to Mr. Jacob Collier and the song Hajanga. Check this out. See, he did something like this. There we go. And then he did this kind of phrase again. Oh! Jacob! So one more time. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. These are the family notes that we need in the key of D. So he's going from chord 4, essentially to chord 3. Then he's going to chord 6, a sus chord, then chord 2. Then he's going 2, 3, 4 in the key of D. Then he's going 5 in the key of C sharp or D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 1, 4, 3. It's the way he does it. And Jacob's really, as I heard him say once, that modulate or changing key or modulate into different keys is one of his habits, is one of his hobbies actually. That's what he said. And it's so interesting because he uses sus chords a lot, and they're used especially to play chord 5 to 1. That would be chord 5 in the key of C sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that in itself is too predictable. That's the word. But this leaves a bit of ambiguity. Essentially, all that is it's a sus chord, or you can think about it like this, like a G. You can see it like a slash chord, to be honest. F sharp major or major 7 slash G sharp. Yeah, but it's a sus chord that's being created to 1. So see the context. He's going from D, and then now he's in the key of C sharp. If I go back to the original key, even in that chord progression, look at this. He goes 4, 3, 6. So we know we're going to the 6. What's the 5 of 6? B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, surprise, surprise. C sharp. So you got, that's essentially a 5 to 1. So now I'm on 6, and then he goes to 2, which is E minor. What's the 5 of that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, surprise, surprise. Is B. So essentially we've got this whole 5-1 harmony happening. That chord is the 5 of this chord, and this chord is the 5. This note represents the 5 of the next chord, which is E minor. How interesting is that? And then by the time he changes key, that is the 5 of this, and then the chord we go to next. So this note actually represents the 5 of this. And that's the chord he goes to next, which is F sharp major. Once again, these 5-1. So this is very much about knowing the language of music, because you can hear what Jacob did. And think like, oh, it's too much, but actually there's a system to it. And that's what I like to kind of break down, you know, and show you guys that there's a language that's being spoken here. It's not just, you know, random chords put together. So that's something that's really helpful to do. Recently, Jacob put up a video called Carolina on My Mind. Yeah, and I wanted to look at that. So I put in the video, he was based around this kind of dominant 7 on E. So, you know, he just kind of just grooving on that. Yeah. Anyway, then he did this. Yeah, that's something. So let me explain this to you guys. If you have a key center, in this case it's E. One way you can kind of break up somewhat of the monotony of it is to do this kind of 3, 6, 2, 5 situation. So let's look at our key center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's our scale. So the third is G sharp. So you can play that as a dominant chord. Yeah, I know that C isn't in the natural scale, but it leads very nicely to the next one, which is right here. going to the 6. So it's a bit of voice leading by rather than doing the B. Oh, or actually, you know what would be the perfect chord? A chord that has both C and B in it. And I think Jacob actually did this kind of voicing, in fact, something like this, which is a sharp 5, sharp 9 chord. But either way, it's still based on this dominant G sharp dominant 7, going to C sharp minor. So we're in E, move into here, move into there. Then, so that will be the 3 to the 6. Then we're going to move to the 2, the second note of the E scale. And he did like a minor, and then he kind of flipped into a major, so he kind of converted it from minor to like a dominant, and then he went to B sus, which lands us, that would be the 5, which lands us straight back to, you know what I mean? I'm looking at Moon River, Jacob Collier style. Check this out. Ooh! Yeah, I'm going to be breaking that down. So I'm going to show it to you in the key of C. Let me show you the C major scale, all white notes. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Alright, I'm going to play this song, the first part from the top. Here we go. So starting with chord 1, C major, to chord 6, chord 4, sharp 11 kind of feel. This segment right here, going to there. So in the key of C, you could reference that to being 7, 3 major to 6. But because I'm looking at that A minor in terms of like my target, I'm actually gonna break the 2 chords before I get to that A minor. I'm gonna break it down in relation to the A minor being the 1, because that's my target. So we're actually gonna think about it like 2, 5, and you might wonder where that G sharp comes from and why it sounds so good. If you look at the A minor scale real quick, the harmonic A minor scale, you have these notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp to A at the top. So that's where that G sharp comes in, which works really well. It just works well. You can hear it on the air, it sits well. So traditionally you would have this: B half diminished, E dominant, A minor in this particular key. But Jacob does this kind of move, so rather than just doing a 5 of the 1 of that A minor, he does this. Yeah. And I just think that's really, really interesting. So I'm going to play from the top of the song again. This time I'm going to give you 2 versions. So the straight version, which just has this, and then Jacob's, I'll do that actually, I'll do a minor 7 on there, and then Jacob's inspired version that I was inspired by to give you this tutorial, which has this kind of thing. So here we go, from the top. Chord 1, 6, 4, chord 1, 4. So this is just the straight version, B half diminished, E dominant, to the 6, to that A minor, or the 1, 2, 5, 1 in terms of that particular progression that we're looking at there. Alright, so as you can see it in 2 ways. Yeah, you can see it in the key of C as being the 6, or if you want to look at that specific harmony and think about, okay, at this particular point harmonically, okay, this is the root, then that would be a 2, 5, 1. Alright, now let me give you Jacob's version. Here we go. Or inspired version, I should say. Interesting enough, actually, on his version of it, there's no piano. It's all pretty much, generally speaking, all vocals. I think there's like some percussion or something that happens toward the end. But yeah, but generally speaking, it's all a cappella. So very interesting version that he's got right there. All right, here we go. So this is his inspired version. Here we go. So 1, 6, 4, 4. Here we go. So think about it as a 2 of the A minor, and watch this. Ah, come on, you know that sounds good. So let me break that down. So that B half diminished, the 2 of the A minor, I'm playing it with the A. So because I know that the B's in the bass, I'm purposely leaving that out. I could play it like this, but I'm letting the B in the bass. I'm not playing that again on my right hand. On my right hand I've got A, D and F. And then for the dominant, I do actually have a dominant, a double of the E. this is just my personal feel, just my personal taste in terms of approaching how to voice these chords. So that one to E, yeah, E dominant, so you got E, G sharp, B, D. So the question is, how do we move from the 5 to the 1 in this minor key of A minor? 5, 1. So we start here with our dominant, E, G sharp, B and D. Now think about it going up in tones, and tones is just 2 semitones. So rather than going from there to there, that would be a semitone. You're going from actually there to there. So from E to F sharp, that's a tone. And then I'm talking about the bass in terms of just starting this off in terms of referencing how we're going to get there. Then from there to there is also another tone, and then we'll go semitone. So this move essentially has 2 tones, 1 tone, 2 tone, and a semitone. So that's the fundamental chord. That 5, we're going to go up a tone. Now on my right hand, that F sharp is actually, like I'm thinking about this chord actually more so in terms of its foundation as actually a D major chord in first inversion. Yeah, so that's what my right hand's doing. So here we go. So up a tone, I'm playing D major first inversion, and then up a tone again. And if you notice, that little finger stays there, so that's mutual. This is a diminished chord, which will take you to that 1, and I'm playing it as a minor 7. And that's it, literally. So this is what it would sound like traditionally, going from 5 to 1. Yeah. Now, actually, let me just do a normal minor on that. That sounds a little bit too much. Let me just go. Yeah, that would be like your perfect cadence, 5 to 1. All right, cool. So now let me expand the harmony a little bit. So going up a tone, and we're playing a D. And interesting enough, another way to think about it as well, because that D is always going to be mutual. So you play the dominant on the 5 dominant. The next chord to play, we know it's an F sharp, and it's a D chord in first inversion. Yeah. Then you got this G sharp, diminished. Just a couple of different ways to kind of think about how to be able to do this shape, because when we do it in different keys, it's good to have things that, you know, are in our memory that we can refer to. And yeah, I've put the minor 7 on there on that 6. Sorry, not 6. I'm going to refer to it as 1 minor. Yeah, because that would be 6 in the key of C, but I'm approaching that as 1 minor. There you go, guys. So yeah. So it's based off a video that I saw of him playing the piano samples Keyscape. Yeah, and towards the end of that video, he had a really, really nice melody in the key of D, which went like this. As simple as that. I'll just do it in the right hand. So as a basis, if I do up the octave, I'll show you what the chords were as a foundation, and then we'll explore further how he expanded the harmony. So he was starting on chord 6. So in the key of D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that being number 1. So the 6 is B minor. So he started there. Then he went to the 2 as a major, E major, and then he played an A sus chord. We do it as a sus4 to start with, and he went to D. So how that sounds with the melody is like this. Yeah. Now, how he was approaching it was more so the right hand was playing the melody and the chords. So number 1, that's one way that as a kind of like a basic foundation that you can kind of expand melodies and chords. So rather than playing your chords only in the left hand and the melody only in the right hand, you can kind of combine it so that your right hand is playing both chords and melody as well. So this would be the approach that I would kind of go for if I was going to do that. Let me keep it simple as well with the chords, because we need to also develop the chords to kind of sound a bit more like Jacob Collier, but we'll do that in due time. Let's start with just normal B minor. Going to E major. And I'm going to play a sus chord like this. Go to D. So play it one more time. E chord coming up. A sus. For that sus chord, essentially think about like a G major 7, because that melody note is on the top with an A, or I could just play it like this, but that melody is important, so I need to represent that. That's the A sus chord, or A sus 13. Yeah, so you got All right, so in addition to that, I reckon that we should include some 7 chords. So let's make the first one B minor 7. Yeah, it's gonna make it sound a bit more like Jacob Collier. So I'm gonna play it like this. And his approach to playing chords and melodies and the bass as well, like often it's all very combined and intertwined. So if you notice, with my left hand, I'm not just playing one note, I'm also playing the F sharp as I kind of see fit. But I know that note is in the scale, is in the chord of B minor, so I know it will work. Yeah, so here we go. Now I'm going to play E7. And then back to the A sus13, which is kind of enough spice. That's more than enough already. And then go into D. We'll keep the D simple. So now we have sounding good. Whereas before it was us. Alright, now I noticed one thing that he was doing on the second time, the second and the fourth time. So this is the first. For the E7 chord, he put the flat 5 in there. Have a listen. Sorry. Ooh. You hear that? That B flat. So E7 flat 5. That just gives that tension. Ooh, it's a nice contrast. So first time. Sorry. Second time with the flat 5 on the E. Watch it. Oh yeah. And then you went kind of back to the normal one. There we go. Flat 5. And then he ended it very interestingly. Rather than going to the D, he went to the major 7 and he used that as a tone center, or key center I should say, and he actually finished there and he used the major scale. He did something like this. I'll show you what he did. That time, yeah, it would have been the flat 5 on that time. Yeah, so he did B minor 7 kind of thing, and then the flat 5 on the E, and he kind of stayed on the A sus, and then he went like this. Etc.
So I'm breaking down the song Human Nature, Jacob Collier style. He was doing stuff like this. Ooh! So he was playing this song in the key of B flat. Now originally the song's in D, but because Jacob played it in B flat for the most part, he actually did quite a few key changes, but we'll start in B flat and let's just go from there. So the key of B flat starts with B flat. Surprise, surprise. So the notes that we need for the scale though: B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. All right, so we're gonna be starting on chord 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna be a major chord, and I'm just gonna play triads to start with. So right there. Or if I actually do it like this, let me do it like this. Yeah, that's the first chord. Why? And then we just move up to chord 5. Yeah, so come from chord 4. And then on the original track, it sounds like there's a 1 chord that's being played, and then the bass is just moving like this. So you start on 1, and then the bass goes down, and then back to 4. But for the sake of this example, we're gonna flesh out a little bit. So let me back up. We're gonna go 4, 5, then we're gonna do 1, and then we're gonna play 7, which is actually on my right hand an inversion of chord 5. So it's like a 5/7, and then a 6, and then a 5. Yeah, that's all we need. Oh, actually no, we need 1 more chord. E flat, going back to the 4. Yeah, so let me sing it for you. So why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? And we're just gonna stop right there because Jacob did some really cool reharmonization. Check this out. He went like this. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? Yeah, he did something like that. Which sounds great. So let me explain why that works. So, once again, I've explained this before in at least one of my other video tutorials, that when it comes to reharmonization, it's really, really important to know that the melody is king. Things have to work with the melody. These aren't just random chords that are played. Like, it really does work well with the melody for these reharmonization ideas, to really, really come through and really sound great, to support the song rather than sounding a bit random. So let's look at the melody notes. So that's chord 4. Let me do it with chords on my left hand. So 4, 5, and then there we go. It's right here, the word nature. So he does something like this, nature. Whereas before it was just nature. Yeah, you just done the chord 5. So tell him that is human nature. Yeah. So originally we just stayed on chord 5, but he, over the word nature, he goes, tell him that is human nature. You see that? Now, why does that work? If I flesh out those chords a little bit, check this out. Tell him that it's human nature. And then why? So let's look at that right there. That chord that I'm changing from having chord 5 is now a F minor 9. And if you notice, that 9 note is what I need. It's at the top in the melody, which works really, really well. Then I'm going a little bit fruity here because I'm going to take a note that actually isn't in our B flat scale. It's going to be the A flat. So I'm going to go from this F minor 9 for the word nature. So there I'm going to a chord 1. That's B flat major, but with a little bit extra in there. So I've got that A flat. I've actually got the C as well. I don't have to have the C, but I'm choosing to put the C, and that makes that's a B flat 9 chord. Yeah, B flat 9. Yeah. So let me explain why that works. Because if you think about it, we're going to be going to E flat after that. Yeah. Now, just for the sake of this example, let us just assume that is 1, just because we're going there. Just for the sake of this example, that's our approach chord. So in the key of E flat, that's 1, that's 2. And if you remember what I just played, it's a F minor chord, which lends itself perfectly in the key of E flat to chord 1, chord 2, if I just break it down there. And if I add the 9 as well, that still works in the key of E flat. So if you think about it, that we're gonna, after all this business of nature, we're going to E flat, which I'm just saying for a moment is home. So that first chord is essentially 2 in the key of E flat. And then what about that B flat? What role does that play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the key of E flat, the B flat note and the B flat chord, which is a major, is the 5. So essentially, just for a moment, as I say, please do stay with me, because the E flat, we're approaching that. So we're just going to call that the 1 for a moment. So that means the F minor chord that we played has a role of chord 2, and then the B flat note and the B flat chord, and we can add in all this extra stuff and it still works in the key of E flat. That's got a role of chord 5, and then we're going to the E flat, which is the 1. So you might have heard this kind of like 2-5-1 progression, being talked about. This is where this stuff comes in, but we're kind of just taking a bit of harmony from one key and transporting it into another one. So going back to B flat, let me just explain it. So Y, chord 4, chord 5, and then tell him chord 1, that is chord 7, human 6, and then nature Y. You see that right there? So just for like a brief moment, I was thinking about E flat. I was having a 2, a 5, and then going to the 1 in E flat, which is the 4 in B flat. Yeah, and that's how that works perfectly as well with the melody, because the melody notes on the top, as I said before, are nature, nature. So let me do it all together. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? Oh my goodness. So I'm not just going to leave it there, because we can actually extend this a little bit further. Listen to this. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. Hey! I felt that. So, tell him that it's human nature. Why? Let me show you that, because that sounds great as well. And essentially, I'm just taking the same idea. So, rather than having in mind that the E flat is going to be the one, I'm going to go back a step, because these are our chords. You got 1. So, Y, chord 4, chord 5, tell him, chord 1, 7. Now watch this. Going from the 6 to the 5. So I'm going to have it in mind just for a moment that 5 is 1, because I'm going to get there somehow. So, the F, or I say the 5 is 1, the F is 1. Yeah, so the F, which in the key of B flat is 5. But for a moment, just because I know I'm going to be going there as a chord, I'm just going to think about it as chord 1. So, the same theory that we had for E flat, we did a 2-5-1 to get to E flat. I'm going to do a 2-5-1 to get to F. So the 2 in F, oh, that's the scale right there. So the 2 is actually a G minor. And then the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a C major chord. And watch what I do. I'm just going to play it as triads so you can see how I did it. Why? Check this out. Tell him that it's human nature. Okay, actually, I should go minor. Nature. I'm going to do it one more time. Let's make that a bit clearer. Sorry, my apologies. So, why? Tell him that it's human. Going to this F, nature, because that's how we did it before. Now, interestingly enough, you can see that I kind of broke some of the rules, because by the time I hit that F, I went straight to that minor. But that's okay, because my F is still I'm thinking about that as my goal that I'm going to. So, the 2 of F is G minor, which works with the melody, because tell him that it's that's the melody up there, and I'm fleshing out a G minor 7 chord. But then for the word, for the next part of the word, human, so the man part, human. Oh, that's my passing chord. And that's thinking about C being the 5 of F, because I've got human nay. So the word nay, or the part of the word nature, I should say, the first part, the first syllable, nay, is the F, and we're doing it as an F minor. So why am I doing a C major? Because in the key of B flat, there's no E, but that's fine, because I'm thinking about it more so in the key of F. And that C acts as a chord 5. And I'm fleshing it out a little bit. I'm doing a C13, because it works well with the melody. Yeah? So if I do all from the top, I'll do the Reharm version. Let me do the Reharm version second. Let me just play it straight for you. So, why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? And now, let me do the Reharm. Check this out. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? So guys, there you go. And this is, to be honest with you, a great way to know how to move essentially from chord 1 to chord 6 to chord 4. Yeah. And I didn't really talk about what the 7's doing, but essentially that 7 is just passing from chord 1 to 6. So let me break it down for you. So from the 1, tell him that it's human. We could just do that. So that 7 just acts as a bit of passing. So tell him, passing, that it's human. But then we could just stay there, nature, and then go to chord 4. Why? but it's those passing chords in between that really make it work. So tell him, passing, that this is our fundamental, our G minor, our chord 6. You passing now, man, nature, and chord 4. Yeah, because we could just go, tell him that it's human nature. Why? We could do that, but it doesn't sound too great, does it? Tell him that it's human